Bulgaria is an industrialized nation with a developed heavy and light manufacturing industry. In 2007, industry accounted for 31.7% of GDP. This makes industry the second largest sector of the economy after services. In 2007, the sector employed 33.6% of the labor force. Overview. Bulgaria is among Europe's largest producers of lead, zinc and copper and produces around 10% of the world's hydraulic machinery. Other products include machine tools, caustic soda, nuclear energy, military hardware, munitions and many other finished and semi-finished products. The country is the largest electricity exporter in southeastern Europe. About 14% of the total industrial production relates to machine building, and 20% of the workforce is employed in this field. The country has conditions favorable to the development of industry. Bulgaria is located at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, which lends itself to international transport. The country has rich mineral resources, a skilled workforce, developed and improving transportation network and educational infrastructure, as well as relatively stable political and economic climate. Industry in Bulgaria can be traced back to 1833 when the Bulgarian industrialist Tourbillon opened the first modern factory in the Balkans at Sliven. The importance of industry dramatically increased during the socialist period. In the era of economic planning, industrial production accounted for more than 50% of national GDP. The main market for Bulgarian manufactured goods was Comecon, the Communist Economic Organization. History. The first factory in what is now Bulgaria was built by the industrialist Tourbillon in the town of Sliven. In 1833, it manufactured woolen textiles and was the first textile mill in the Ottoman Empire. Industrialization before the independence in 1878 was largely concentrated around the major towns of Plovdiv, Gabrovo, Ruse, Sliven, Karlovo, Sofia and Samokov. These early companies were mostly small firms with a handful of workers, involved in light manufacture producing high-end goods like textiles, soap, alcohol, wine and leather products. Competition for more established Western European firms put many of these early enterprises out of business. After the liberation of Bulgaria, the new country settled upon a low tariff regime, and as a result local industries suffered from the increased import of cheaper and high-quality goods from more developed producers in Western Europe. A number of protectionist laws passed by the government in 1890s and early 20th century lead to an increase in industrial output. At this time, Bulgaria received an inflow of foreign capital largely from Germany, Belgium and Austria-Hungary. This was focused mainly in mining and agricultural processing industries. In the 25 years between 1890 and 1915, industry provided 15% of GDP. Despite the upheavals of World War I, the number of manufacturing plants increased between the wars. In 1939 there were 3,345 manufacturing enterprises which employed around 112,000 people. The average size was still fairly small, only around 30 employees per factory. The industry still was concentrated mainly in the large cities and their expanding suburbs. Ruse, Plovdiv, Varna, Sofia, Pleven, Stara Zagora, Gabrovo saw significant expansion between 1920 and 1940. Large parts of the country remained almost entirely agrarian. At the beginning of World War II, only 5 cities, Sofia, Plovdiv, Ruse, Varna and Burgas, accounted for 46.5% of all industrial output. Manufacturing was still predominantly light and export-focused. Textiles, leather, footwear and perishables such as tobacco, sugar, butter and meat were produced in large quantities. industries. Mining consisted of the extraction of coal and small quantities of ferrous ores. Aircraft were produced in Lovech, Bozrishte and Kazanlak. Darjavna Aeroplana Rabatilnitsa State Aircraft Workshops had a plant in Bozrishte which focused upon military aircraft. The communist regime which ruled Bulgaria for over 40 years from the 9th of September 1944 prioritized industrial development. All existing plants were nationalized and the entire Bulgarian economy was subjected to planned economy. There was a sustained increase in production. New industries were developed very quickly and, as in other socialist countries, not always efficiently. New industrial complexes on a scale not before seen in the Balkans were constructed. New power plants, chemical works, metallurgical smelters, military producers and other new industries were inaugurated. The country's scientific and technical base was not neglected either. New schools and universities being built, feeding directly into the expanding industrial economy. The national economy was integrated. Income and Bulgaria specialized in the production of Bulgarian computing, motor trucks and tinned food. During the 1940s, the main objective of the Bulgarian Communist Party was to rebuild the damage caused during the Second World War. New roads and railways were built as well as small factories. During the 1950s, massive expansion of the electro-transit network brought electricity to all parts of the country. A number of hydro plants, including the Batak hydropower system and several coal plants, were constructed. The extraction of coal was increased and Bulgaria's first oil field in Shabla went into production. During the next decade, many military and metallurgical plants were constructed, like the Kremnikovci and Stomana steelworks. Cooperation on space technologies with the USSR was encouraged and the country supplied the Soviet space program with research devices and computers. Many new factories in the field of micro and precision electronics were inaugurated. In the 1970s, the industrial component of the Bulgarian economy continued to increase. In 1974, Bulgaria became the third communist state to have a functioning nuclear power station. On the 10th of April 1979, Bulgaria became the sixth nation in the world to send man in space using the Soviet Interkosmos program. During the 80s, Bulgaria was a mass producer of Privet Series 8. In 1990, the computer technology industry produced 35% of Forex earnings. After the overthrow of the communist regime, the inefficient Bulgarian economy was thrown into chaos. Years of inefficient state planning, environmental degradation and the use of outdated modes of production meant Bulgaria, lagging for years and heavily indebted, struggled to compete in free market conditions. Many manufacturing plants were closed and others went into bankruptcy as the state gave up the battle to try and bring them to profit. Due to lack of investment, the high-tech component of the Bulgarian economy went into terminal decline, undercut by more modern Asian imports and the collapse of Comcon. The process of privatization was slow and difficult. However, since 2000, Bulgaria has seen heavy foreign investment and its economic fortunes have revived. Sectors. The energy industry. Energy is one of the most important sectors in the Bulgarian economy. It accounts for 18.2% of total industrial production and employs 10.9% of the workforce in the secondary sector. Bulgaria is the primary exporter of electricity in southeastern Europe as well as a major transit country for Russian oil and gas. Bulgaria's role in the transit of fuel fuels is going to increase after the construction of several pipelines currently in the planning stage. Coal is the only natural fuel found in the country in any abundance. Most of the coal reserves are of the lignite type. Total known reserves amount to in 18 basins. The largest deposit is Maritsa Istok in Stara Zagora province, which contains 2.9 billion tons. This is followed in size by the Sofia Basin in the Sofia Valley, the Elovo Basin, the Lom Basin and the Maritsa Zapad Basin. There is a large deposit of anthracite in Dobrik province. Those reserves are estimated to amount to 1.2 BLNT. However, due to the large depth and moisture of the deposit, it is still unexploited. The rate of coal extraction is currently 27 million t per annum, ranking 19th in the world and 6th in the EU. There are small deposits of oil and natural gas, mainly in the north of the country. Although Bulgaria's fossil fuel deposits are not vast, the country is a major producer of electricity. As of 2007, Bulgaria produces 45.7 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity. Metallurgy. Before the beginning of the 1950s, the metallurgic industry of Bulgaria did not include the whole production cycle, and as of 1939 the sector accounted for as little of 0.5% of the national GDP. As of 1998, the percentage has risen to 11.2%. In the same year, there were 51,600 people employed in the sector, including mining and flotation of metals, which is 1.7% of the total workforce. The first state steel manufacturing factory, Lenin, was constructed between 1953 and 1958 in Pernik, a coal mining city at 20 kilometers to the southwest of Sofia. After the discovery and beginning of exploitation of iron ore deposits near Kremnikovci in 1963, the Kremnikovci steel complex was built. It was the largest manufacturing factory in the Balkans at the time and remains one of the largest until now. Other metalworking factories for production of steel products were constructed in Itimin, Roman, Septemvri, Rus, Burgas and others. Historical production of pig iron, steel and rolled iron in Bulgaria. In the 1980s began the construction of the third metallurgic base at Tourbillon, to the south of Burgas, whose planned capacity was 4 million tons of rolled iron annually. A railway between Burgas and the Maritsa Istok complex was planned for the needs of the factory, but after the democratic changes in 1989, the construction works came to a halt.